Harper's.
What's his problem with Harper's?
He's got history with them too.
All right, let's go.
Excuse me. I'm still alive.
Right. What's your favorite book?
Hard to pick just one.
That's the question, right?
Yep.
In terms of historical works, I'd say the Fanged Tome of Lykanthus Szar. That was only the fourth question. Hello? Oh, shit.
Most others are, you can find, oh, this is the a halfling edition where it focuses a lot more on just some of the stuff that they would care about, or
Right.
and it's all by the one author, but he's got probably 6 to a dozen different sources that he pulled from, whether they were friends of his, whether they were, people he knew in the past. It's also one thing that does surprise people that finally get around to reading it is that it is more wide-ranging than most books about hunting and animal tracking, or what to do with their hides and corpses and so forth and so on. I can't remember the term. It's not animal husbandry. That's raising on like livestock.
Tanning, like for tanning leather.
Yeah, there's information like that in there, and so you actually can find out if you really want to, you can learn how to tan lucrata hide. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can do it from this book.
Why would you want to tan a lucrata? First, you got to kill the lucrata, I guess.
Yeah, but this, I think one of the reasons that this book is remembered and is a famous book enough that a random guy out in among the barbarians has heard of the book and enjoyed it, because it's got so much information that isn't going to go out of not style. What's the word I want here? It's not redundant information. The creatures are still dragons. Still act the way dragons act. Aside from
the same information, it's not going to change over time because of what you're tracking. Only time it'll change is they go out of existence.
Yeah, I mean, the main difference would be, okay, bears are going to be different on the Great Glacier than they are, say, in the woods of Cormanthor. There will be brown bears there. There'll be polar bears out on the glacier and so forth and so on. There'll be grizzlies further out on the savage frontier, or whatever it was they were calling it in the 300s.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I can't remember. I don't keep all that in my head anymore. But
no, but you can't.
So that is the Fanged Tome, and it's depending on how it's bound and how it's been copied, it can be anywhere from 150 pages to upwards of 250, and so it's a massive thing. So you're going to need some pretty large, teeth as clasp for that.
That's why you have the black dragon clasps on there.
Yep. So there's not as much on dragons in that as some people think it does. And again, that's one of those things that Kelvin liked to play with. You let people talk about, oh, well, the book is bound in dragon hide. Oh, well, it must have a lot to do with dragons. Sure, kid. Yeah.
Sure, kid. Oh, yeah. And there's also lycanthropy in there.
Oh, yeah. And Kelvin, I will officially say, yes, Kelvin started that lie.
But Lykanthus Szar lived, he died in 386, you said?
Yeah.
So I'm confused. Doesn't the current information have he was in the Nethril Empire?
Well, some information says that, yes.
Some information says he was a Netherese wizard.
It's like that earlier thing we talked about, which is, oh, yes, he's related to the Szar family down in Baldur's Gate, except the time doesn't work right because
time doesn't work right. Okay.
He predates the city by several centuries, so that can't be right. Unless he's a time traveler.
But then he post-dates the Netherese by a couple of thousand years.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. Well, as do we all.
As do we all. No, but the information that I had is that he was an ancient human of the Empire of the Netheril, and and then the math wasn't working when you said, "Oh, he was born in 300 Gale Reckoning and died in 386." I'm like,
Yep.
but that's 20 something thousand years past the Netherese Empire or something,
Yeah, and it could be, if there's a possibility that there may have been someone named Lykanthus Szar from Netheril, but if I had to guess, I would say that that is all one word, not two separate names,
Like Lykanthus.
Lykanthus Szar.
Okay.
Now, is he the guy that started lycanthropy? No.
No. They're pretty
Only
adamant.
because it's too on the nose, isn't it? Really?
Right, right.
That's like saying, Cyrus Smith was the guy who created fireballs. Yeah, no.
Iris. Okay, yeah. Oh, that makes sense. That makes that makes a lot
But
of sense.
so yes, it all comes down to which sources do you want to believe?
Well,
And like I
that was my
said,
comment earlier before Curry came on was how did he train in Myth Drannor with his history of of lycanthropy and all this? And now you just answered the question really is that it wasn't him.
nope, nope. Lykanthus Czar and the Fanged Tome have nothing to do with
Nothing.
lycanthropy other than this is how you can identify the difference between regular wolf, dire wolf, werewolf.
Werewolf? Werewolf.
Yeah, the scat is different. The tracks they leave behind are different, and so forth. And you could
Right.
probably learn how to tan the hide of lupine creatures, including werewolves, depending on how you kill them. But
Yeah, but once you kill a werewolf, doesn't it revert back to human form?
yeah,
There
you're
you
right.
go. So you couldn't.
So you got to be quick. No, no. There is nothing on skinning a live creature. No, we're not going to do
Damn it.
that.
It would
But
it would quickly turn into skinning of the human is what it would turn into.
no, there's some very, I'd say the biggest secrets that come out of the Fang Tome are really just the fact that gnomes are really vicious hunters, and when you dig through the details,
Right.
they have, because a lot of the things that they are always hunting are burrowers, animals that are, it could be anything from weasels or groundhogs or the larger stuff up to and including purple worms.
Right.
And their methods of hunting and trapping burrowing creatures are so vicious in comparison to some of the other sapient races. I mean, we're talking, drive the creatures into particularly dug tunnels that are set with, spikes or, all sorts of barbed implements in the
Why
side.
would they
So
be so? But why? Well, you don't think gnomes is vicious hunters?
no, you don't, because this is what he learned about their hunting tactics on their turf. So it's more of a, there's the gnomes that are up on the surface and they're all civilized and whatnot, but if you get down in the burrows and the dens, it's a harsher environment than it is up in the sunlit lands. And
Right.
so at least the information that he wrote down that's in the book is pretty brutal.
La 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 la.